So if we could just get our fundamentals right in terms of how the tech community could actually benefit the startups here, because everything requires you to be well-versed within technology.
99 FM, your inspiration station, Sibo and Mo in the morning. And we have another amazing interview this morning because we just want to support startups, MSMEs. If you are within that ambit, well, this is the show for you. And this morning we have Billet. Yes, Billet is a Namibian tech startup specializing in talent management matchmaking services. They founded it in 2022, and the founders are Emerita Ambata. We have Magnaim Ambata, as well as the CEO who's here this morning, Asteria Pirola. And they just this is a firm. It's in search of tech talent with sub-Saharan African tech professionals, and they just want to make it easier for your business just to find tech talent, providing less administration for you, less hassles, less risk, and guess what? Just better experience when I get that experience. Asteria, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So yes, tell us about what has motivated you to really start your business.
Well, for starters, it came from really just personal experiences. I think just from the internship point of view, being a freelance worker, I've worked in the remote space for about 4 years now, so it really just wanting to do things a little bit better. And the Namibian industry, as far as employment is concerned, it's looking a bit very challenging at the moment in terms of most graduates just getting employment opportunities directly. So we decided that, okay, we could come up with a solution just to bridge you between being here physically and working for international partners or international companies.
Yeah. Because you always have to come up with a business that comes up with a solution, and that's exactly what you're trying to achieve. Exactly. And some of the lessons that you've picked up along the way?
Ooh, where do I start?
Ooh, child.
Well, for one, it's really just the mindset. I think beyond COVID, we've seen that there is adaptability in terms of people wanting to shift to remote working. But the transition of that has been a bit slower. And also just people realizing that you're working remotely, but it can become like an employment opportunity. And then second to that is adaptability of tech as well, like adopting new ways of doing things instead of your standard way of also looking for jobs. For one. And then thirdly is just partnerships as well, getting your foot in the door.
Hey.
And you're a new player as well, so the whole fundraising environment, the whole ecosystem for startups has been quite interesting. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at top 3 for now. I can go on and on.
I can imagine. I wanted to touch on the first one that you spoke of, adaptability to remote working, because there's been such a shift, especially after COVID. A lot of countries specializing in the 4-day work week. They're trying that out, the trial run. I know South Africa is now on that bandwagon. They've also called on certain companies. I saw there was an article about Namibia now shifting to certain companies trying out that trial run for the 4-day work week, and like I said, one of the problems was adaptability to remote working. How do you think that would fare in Namibia, and how can Billet come on board and help?
Yeah, well, that's a good question, by the way. So I think it started as just really realizing from an employee point of view, just what are people right now looking for?
Yeah.
Most people are looking for flexibility.
True.
They're looking to have work-life balance. So if you could minimize your time and still get work done, that's really where Billet comes in, because you don't essentially have to be at the office for 40 hours per week. And that's really
change to your desk. Yeah,
exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So where Billet comes in is just, it looks like it's new in Namibia, but it has been adopted worldwide. People are working remotely intensely, and there are derived benefits that come as a result of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And in terms of also tech, because you are a tech startup, how are you getting or helping, or can you help small businesses just get tech savvy and help in that regard?
Well, looking at the tools that we have on board, like just to start you up as a freelancer,
yes,
especially the intern cohort that we're going to roll out. We rolled out the Namibian chapter. But for all the other countries in sub-Saharan Africa, it's really crucial, at least, for you to have fundamental knowledge of how platforms such as Notion would work for project management, Zoom, Looming, the etiquette of being online as well. So if you can already get into that space by yourself, it makes our job a whole lot easier. We just have to fine print, obviously, like the skills and stuff.
You know, you use terminologies that are so important to startups to have, but the only word that some people might have just recognized from that is just Zoom. Can you just talk? Because people they're not on your Slack, they are not on your, because they don't know what those platforms are. Could you just explain what those platforms are?
Yeah, because I mean, Zoom for one, it came as a result of COVID.
Yes.
A lot of people were on it, and also Microsoft Teams, I think.
Yes.
But
that's Teams.
Oh,
I'm still on it.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So it's really just realizing like each platform has its own advantages, obviously. Like instead of going on a Zoom, you could use Loom, which is more for audio, short video clips.
I see.
So you can upload that onto your Slack channel instead of having to call a meeting that's 40 minutes on Zoom.
You understand?
But at the core of it, it's really just all platforms are for productivity. I don't want to spend my time an hour in studio. If you can just shorten it down for me. There's quite a lot, I think. There's Notion, then there's HubSpot as well for like marketing. Okay, I don't have to list it right now.
But but I'm just trying to make the listeners know that Billet is here to help you get, well versed in the systems that will make your job efficient.
Exactly.
Basically. And you just touched on the intern cohort program. What's that about?
Well, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Ingest.
So the focus of it, we are focusing on sub-Saharan African countries.
Okay.
So we rolled out, in fact, if you have followed our journey, we started off as a freelance marketplace. And then we branched down to niche down into tech talent, essentially.
Okay.
So we opened up the cohort to deal with the raw skills that are currently in Namibia from third year and fourth year students.
Okay.
From UNAM or tech professionals if you identify yourself as such. And we decided that, okay, if you're going to become a part of our cohort, you're going to have to pass an industry level test that would benchmark your skills to the international market. And we rolled that out in March. We have super 18 interns right now that have been able to really pass with a pass rate of 80% and above.
Hey!
Yeah. And we're testing UX, we tested UI, UX, software development, core fundamental coding lingo or knowledge. And at the core of it is really just having to utilize those interns to pump them out to the international clients and still be maintaining that level of quality. So right now we have the Namibian cohort, the chapter, but we're going to go to South Africa, Botswana, and all the other sub-Saharan countries. So
I'm excited about it.
I know. It's a lot of work actually, but there's immense potential. Of course. It's just not realized.
Let's talk about that potential. What is your vision and just your hopes for the tech industry in Namibia and Africa, and how we can be part of the tech global community?
Yeah, just being comparable to all the other tech communities that exist in the world, instead of having to take the lead from the Silicon Valley bro tech startups. We could be trendsetters within Southern Africa, or we could also be equal players like within the Bangalore tech communities, which has been dubbed as the fast-growing tech communities within India. So if we could just get our fundamentals right in terms of how the tech community could actually benefit the startups here, because everything requires you to be well-versed within technology, then why not? And that's really just where I want us to move towards, having that open-mindedness in terms of where the future is headed, how can you prepare yourself? Billet.
How can someone who's listening in right now saying, what, Billet is for me and I need the help that I need, how do they get in touch? Where can they go?
Well, we have the rest of the team here.
Yeah, we do actually. Let me put them on blast. The ladies are here looking absolutely fantastic. And it's just we don't want to be on the mic. But yeah, how can we get in touch?
We have an automated system basically with our emails.
I mean, you wouldn't be tech if you're not automated.
Yeah, it just saves us a lot of work. So you can either reach us out on our webpage. There's a waitlist currently also available. Or our direct email, or if you really, really want to get personal, you can also email me personally, but I would advise against that.
To go through the, so just give us the email.
Info at Billet Connect.
Billet Connect. There's no .com. Okay.
It's just .com.
.com. And then as for the website, you said?
www.billetconnect.com.
Well, Asteria, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for the work that you're doing. I cannot wait to see how the 18 munchkins are going to fare and just come out shining and brighter and better.
I know.
And just like you said, you're rolling it out in other countries as well. So Namibia also to the world, to the continent first and then to the world. We'll train all of them.
Exactly.
Why not? Everybody.
Why not? Thank you for having me as well.
Thank you for coming. That was Asteria Pirola, CEO of Billet Namibia. If you need any sort of help within the ambit that she was speaking of, it's info@billetconnect.com. That's info@billetconnect.com.
Expert advice on 99 FM Startup, proudly brought to you by Namibia Asset Management. Namibia Asset Management, our expertise, your advantage.